So how much does a little tractor like that weigh? Well, I got this old farm scale. It'll weigh things up to 500 pounds. I went through this scale, made sure it all works right. It actually does work nicely. Since we're outside, the wind does affect it, so it has to be on a fairly calm day. So how are you going to get that tractor on there? Since this scale is on wheels, I'm going to stabilize it a little bit, put it on this piece of plywood. There's an extra strip of wood down each end here, and that's going to contain the wheels. So this thing will be held in position. Next thing I got here is a set of ramps that I'll be able to push the tractor up on. It's all bolted together with lag bolts. This center beam is strategically located so it can butt up against the edge of the scale. And I got these two strips of wood on the side, and those are going to contain this wooden platform on top of the scale platform. So let's see how that works. So you want to make sure your platform is not bound up. There's some rods that hold it in position there. So I've had this scale apart and cleaned it. Works pretty well. So we need to make sure this zeroes out with nothing on it. Now this got a lock to hold the beam down for when you're rolling it around on the floor or not using it. Got a big truck going by there. So there's not really a line that tells you when you're lined up here. You just got to eyeball this beam in the center of that square where it's allowed to hang right there. Then when you take your weight measurement, you're trying to duplicate that exact position. So that's not bad for a zero. Looks like everything's working properly. Okay, now I'm going to set this piece on there. Okay, you can see how it works. That beam in the middle is strategically located there so that it gives me a pivot point. The ramp is heavier on that end than it is on this other end, so that it'll stay down while you're pushing the tractor up. Now the tractor's a little bit forward of center to offset the weight of the wood being a little bit rear of center. So you need to make sure your platform is floating there, not touching any of the frame. Need to be able to see some clearance all the way around it. So this is sitting on that platform properly. Alright, so what are you going to do? Weigh the whole thing totally and then subtract the weight of the wood? Well, I made something for that. Makes it a little bit easier. So I got my wood platform balanced on the scale here. Not touching in the back. So we can go ahead and weigh this thing. Now the way this works is you put these weights out on this platform to offset the weights that's on the scale. So right now this is set at 0, so this beam is clear at the top. So we're going to try a 50-pound weight. Now if that weighed less than 50 pounds, this would be going down. So it weighs more than 50 pounds. Now this slider gives you another 50 pounds here, so if it was more than 100 pounds, now this beam would still be up, so it's less than 100. So now I'm going to find out what the weight is here. So when that balance is about the same as it did when you zeroed the scale, then you can read your weight measurement. So here we have 50 pounds plus 9.5 pounds. So that wood weighs 59.5 pounds. So just so I don't have to do the math, I cut out this piece of 1/4-inch plate steel. Got some holes in the bottom where I got it roughly the proper weight to zero this out. So when I add that to my beam, now I got to re-zero this. It is near the top. So what happens is the moisture content in this wood is a little heavier now than it was last year when I made this. That's okay, you only need to get close, and then I'm going to rebalance the scales here. So there's a weight on a screw back in here. I went through here and cleaned this so it's easy to operate. So I need to have the weight go that direction. I'm going to unscrew this screw to push the weight that direction until it balances out. Okay, that's pretty good. Got my slider set at 0, and with the offsetting weight, the scale balances out with the wood on the platform. So that's how I counterbalance the weight of the wood. And now when I take a measurement of the tractor, it'll be the weight of the tractor. So let's see how this works. So I have an assortment of weights over here. So first we'll put on a 200 pound. So that weighs more than 200. So let's try 300. Nope, less than 300. How about 250? So it's more than 250. Okay, that's about the right position. So the total weight is 200 plus 50 plus 33. So that's 283 pounds for the 1958 wheel horse RJ58. Now there's no calcium in the front wheels. Calcium chloride liquid, that is. These tractors were sold with calcium chloride liquid in the front wheels to hold the front end down. But it was very caustic, so that's been removed from this tractor. Now how about this old 704? Should weigh a little more than the other one. So we got a 200 and a 100 and a 50. So that's 350 there. And that's on almost 21. So that's 371. 371 pounds for the 704. How about this 856? It's winter time here, so I got the batteries out of all my tractors. So I got a battery sitting down there. on the scales. So over here we got two 200-pound weights. So that's 400 on there. And the slider is set on 33.5. So that rounds up to 434 pounds for the 856. Alright, how about this tractor? Probably pushing the limit on the scale a little bit. So over here we got two 200-pounders, a 100-pound and a 50-pound. So that's 550 there. And the slider looks like it's on 27 3/4. So we'll call that 28. So 578 pounds. £578 for the wheel horse model 7763. That's two 7-horse engines, 6-speed transmission, made in 1963. Alright, how about one of these older ones? Well, this is a 1955 model RJ35, has the Clinton engine on it. Not really a fair comparison because it's got an attachment. Most of the early ones I have around here that I can get to have attachments on them, because we like to take them to the show with attachments. So here we have 300 pounds of weights there, and the slider is on 23.5. So 324 pounds for the 1955 RJ35 with the sickle bar attachment. Alright, that's it. Yeah, it says capacity 500 pounds on this one. Didn't break it though.